is September 7th, 2018.
And this is Nerd Bourbon episode 66, take 2. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill. I was going to make the joke. It's like, I feel like we've done this.
We're in a time loop. We tried to record this episode last night, but fuckery kept us from doing it.
Yeah. And honestly, I will keep that footage for the rest of my life.
I was about to say, as much as I would like to kind of like work that in as like a blooper into the audio version of it, the final audio mix, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time.
And yeah, you're not gonna have enough time. And also, I don't think it will be as funny without the video part of it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because it was shaping up to be a good episode. I started off with a tasteful Star Wars joke.
Yeah.
Talked about Star Wars Resistance a little bit. Now I'm like, the moment's lost. I don't want to talk about Star Wars anymore.
Yeah, it was like there's like 20 minutes of like really, really like I thought it was a really entertaining shit, but no.
Yeah. So we'll just talk about what we're going. We're also on kind of like a time constraint because a little peek behind the curtain. We're recording this on Thursday. The episode's due tomorrow, so we're on a pretty tight window. So this may end up being kind of a shorter episode, but we did want to talk about what we've been playing this week and give our initial thoughts on Forsaken, the new Destiny 2 expansion. So we're definitely going to be doing that. I did want to say before we get into the video games, we are, obviously Spider-Man is not out yet at the time of this recording. So you'll probably get in-depth thoughts on Spider-Man next week. That'll probably be the main thing we talk about next week. It'll be a very Spider-Man centric episode next week. So just be ready for that. And that's why, by the time you're listening to this, Spider-Man is out, but we have not played it yet.
Yeah.
But we will have played it this time next week. So next week you're going to get plenty of Spider-Man talk. So with that being said, Todd, what have you been doing this week?
Let me rehash the shit I already talked about. No.
You're in the middle of talking about it, technically.
Yeah, it's true. So, basically this week, I've been playing a lot of PUBG. I think I've actually put about like 40 hours in like the last week. Jesus. Yeah. I mean,
stop showing off your free time.
I know. It's not really. I don't think it's a good thing to be showing off this free time. Unemployment, that good shit. I've been enjoying it. Well, both of us actually enjoy PUBG. It is one of those things like just come to PlayStation 4 and I'd actually play it a little more, sort of thing.
I like it with these battle royale games though, and I was actually talking to you about this when you were playing it with Jacob the other day, who I guess may or may not be listening to this episode. But I was saying, as you guys were playing, I was like, there's so many battle royale games, like somebody has got to be the loser. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and PUBG is gonna be I do agree with that because it is kind of like falling behind.
PUBG is, I think it's always gonna have a little bit of an audience, but once Battlefield 5 and Call of Duty have battle royale modes, Fortnite has already taken the world by storm.
The Call of Duty shit?
What about it?
They're just gonna have AI zombies and shit.
Yeah, it's and it's also, and I think they did this on purpose because Battlefield revealed details of their battle royale.
Mm-hmm.
And then fucking Black Ops 4 came out not long after revealing their details. So, and it's funny because Black Ops 4's map actually seems like it's going to be really huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's also going to have more players on it too.
Because what's the deal? Is it like 80 for Black Ops?
It's 80 for Black Ops. I think it's like 64 for Battlefield.
That's like a standard game. They'll probably end up bumping that up later on, probably, but in the beginning, just to work out the kinks, maybe.
Here's the deal. I think Battlefield. I think the big difference is Battlefield's map is still going to be huge because even their standard maps are huge.
Yeah.
And I also think it's going to be more detailed. and you're talking about like the things that you come to know from Battlefield, like vehicles and stuff like that. I think all of that is probably going to be present in the battle royale mode, and I think it's going to differentiate itself from Call of Duty quite a bit. I do think that Blackout for Call of Duty is going to be huge, but and then Red Dead is more than likely going to have some version of this, you know. So I just, when you have all these games in the mix, the Red Deads and the Battlefields and the Call of Duties and the Fortnites, where does PUBG fit in anymore?
That's
You know what I mean?
it's a good point, and I think that is right now they have the whole like fix PUBG sort of thing going on right now. They want to like try to like put it back on the map, but it's probably a little too late, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally enjoy it. Like out of all the battle royale games out right now, it's probably my favorite. I've played, I've played Fortnite, hate it. I've actually fucked with H1Z1 when it came to PS4. It's not bad.
Right.
It's a good like, it's like if you don't like Fortnite on PS4, H1Z1's a good middle ground for you if you can't play like PUBG on PC. But it is what it is. Other than that, I've been playing. I got into Quake Champions.
That's kind of the big one, right? That's kind of the one
Yes,
you've been
I
coming
have
back.
fallen in love with this game. I'm surprised I didn't play it. I played it yesterday, but I've been playing it almost like every day, just about.
Yeah.
At least for like a good good like 4 or 5 games every so often, and I have just fallen in love with it. It's like that. You said like throwback to like the old school like retro like fast paced shooter.
Yeah, arena shooters.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
all arena shooters. Yeah,
Those
and
really twitchy.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Twitch reactions and all that. And I really like really got into it. I mean, the difference between this one and like the other like arena shooters back in the day is like this one is based on like the champions sort of thing.
Right.
Like every character has like abilities and whatnot. I've gravitated towards my baby boy Doomslayer,
Right.
and actually I don't know if I told you one of the main reasons I like him. It's not even for his not even for his like actual like ult basically like which is his going berserk and just punching motherfuckers in the face. It's great. I like he can double jump. Like his movement, he can double
Right.
jump. Like I mean, that's actually some things like there's passive abilities as well. I don't think I talked about that actually when we were doing the original recording. Is there
Is he
actually?
the only character that can double jump?
Yes.
Wow.
So like there's a certain character that like there's another character that can wall jump.
Okay.
So there's like some certain characters have just like different movements, and that's actually something. There's something about actually learning every single champion in the game, because like it's actually especially for like if you do ranked like there's like a 2v2 mode where you actually like have to switch out your hero like every round I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's like something about actually like learning every single character to get decent with. And I've fucked with a good amount of the characters. It's just like I always find myself back to Doomslayer because the double jump is like a game changer to me because it gets me to certain places. Like I can get across the map in like one go. It's beautiful.
It's just as Nelly said in his timeless song, you only like him for his pimp juice.
But yeah, I made the joke before, but it's just like when there's something about playing that game though that is just it. I think it's something we've said before. Is like it activates like that primal warrior
Yes.
because it's just like, dude, you got like the heavy metal music going, and it's just like, dude, it focuses my fucking brain.
Yeah, your senses are just honed. in
Yeah,
that
I'm just like
moment.
honed. I'm like doing all this like twitchy reaction shit. I'm like,
You enter that flow state and you just flip on that switch in your mind that
Oh.
is still part teenage
yeah,
cyborg.
exactly. Like it's like when I'm playing that game, it's like, holy shit, he's still alive.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was. We were playing Crucible or whatever, and I was like, every now and then I'll do some like dirty shit in like a PvP game, and I'm like, all right, there's I can reclaim a little bit of that 16-year-old
It's
teenage
I
cyborg.
always say it like you rattle the cages a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. Games, I mean, and games like that are very skill based. So, like, especially those when you're talking about those twitchy, like high reaction time.
Oh yeah. Like
shooters.
honestly, with as good as I am just in like standard play, I know if I went to ranked, I'd be humbled.
Yeah,
I'd be
you'd get
fucking
humbled
humbled.
real quick.
Like, you think you're good? Fuck you.
Yeah, definitely would. I Why do you think that something like Quake Champions works and Lawbreakers didn't?
Mm. Well, Quake is already a well-loved like franchise.
Yeah, obviously it's like a very storied IP.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more trust coming from like it being from like id and whatnot.
I mean, I think Lawbreakers had a lot of like buzz leading up to its release. It's like, oh, this is Cliffy B's new game, you know?
Yeah,
And it
I
had
don't know.
definitely
Again,
had some cool
it's a weird
marketing.
thing is I actually really like Lawbreakers for what it was. It's just like I fell
Yeah.
off it because like honestly, I think if I had more people to play with, I probably would have kept with it. But I was just playing by myself, and I'm like, eh.
I'm just wondering what the difference is. Why does Quake Champions succeed and Lawbreakers fail? If they both occupy, they're not the same game obviously, but they both occupy that Twitch arena shooter space, you know?
I mean, there is a sense of like that one isn't as like it is an arena shooter, but it doesn't have like the old school like pickup. I don't think it had weapon pickups.
I don't think so
I may
either.
be wrong on that. I don't remember there being weapon pickups in that game, and I just remembered
Yeah.
like that one was like so there's classes in obviously in Quake Champions, but like this one was solely off. Like it was trying to be the Overwatch of arena shooters. Lawbreakers
Right.
was in a way. And here's the deal: like I don't know if they were trying to make me give a shit about the characters. I don't. Like the characters were just like shit in Lawbreakers.
Hmm. I mean, maybe for people who are fans of arena shooters, maybe they look at something like Lawbreakers and they see it as like how I look at that game Brawlout or whatever and compare it to
Yeah,
Smash.
that's a good point of view. Good
Or better
perspective.
yet, comparing like PlayStation All Stars to Smash or something, you're just like,
Yeah,
like it's not quite the
it's not
same.
pure enough. It's not like what I really want.
Yeah, I guess that's and Quake, Quake probably does that kind of gameplay better than anybody
Oh,
else.
without a doubt, dude. Like
I'm sure it's
it's
still built on the bones of the old Quake
oh, dude, it
games.
feels so good playing that game. I love it.
That's cool. I'll play it when it comes to Switch. As with everything. Hyper Light Drifter came out today, and I really want to dig into that.
I am really looking forward to actually talking to you about that game.
Yeah, I definitely, whenever I get a chance to actually sit and play it and beat it on Switch, it will definitely get its own topic, probably,
Because no,
on the
because like, that's
show.
something like I would love to actually talk about that game with you. It'd be great.
Because I know you really love that game. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Like,
Uh,
in terms of what you've been doing this week?
Trying to think what else I've been doing. No, I think that's it.
Probably, yeah, probably just Destiny, which is going to be our kind of main
Yeah, it's kind
topic
of
this
like
week.
before we might as well just jump into the topic at that point. Other than that, but you still have to
I
talk about some
I wanted
things.
to talk about I wanted to talk about two kind of just blaze through two little indie games I've been playing. Um, kind of two things that have been like side dishes for me basically. Because as you know, like I've been playing like the shit out of Ōkami still on Switch, and
Okami.
I like beat that. Um, Ōkami, as we've been calling it. Finished that. There's still some stuff that I would like to go back and like kind of clean up. I put about 40 hours into it, all told. There's still plenty of things to do
How
to
many hours you put into it?
about 40.
Oh shit.
Um, I did do a lot of like side content. I did not do all of the side content. Like I could still go and clean up stray beads and stuff like that. But all told, yeah, about 40 hours for my playthrough, and had a great time. Like I can't stress enough like how fresh that game feels. Um,
With the power
if
of the
you've never
Switch.
played it, this you got to pick it up on Switch. Was that?
I said with the power of the Switch,
Well, yeah, with the power of the Switch and the HD Rumble.
and it's so fresh.
It really does look like it really feels like it holds up so well to this day.
Well,
Like
I think we've
nothing
talked
about it
about that.
feels
Like the
dated.
cell shaded games always age so much better.
I'm not even talking about just visually, even though it looks fantastic visually, like just the gameplay and the mechanics of it are still very like innovative. And I really like one thing that I think it actually does do better than Zelda is that the dungeons and the items and powers that you acquire actually make sense narratively. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to the Shadow Temple now. It's like, oh, I have to go to this temple where to help this guy find his lost dog, and that is a dungeon. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like things that actually make sense as you're progressing through the story are also dungeons. It's not just like hard stops of like, let's do the wind temple and the fucking fire temple, and it's not like that. It's not rigid like that.
Okay.
I really appreciate that about Ōkami. And then yeah, the story's just good. The you know, the world layout is good. It's just a fun game, you know, and like the Switch is the perfect home for it. All jokes aside, and like it's like $20. Yeah, I really can't recommend it enough. I was gonna ask when we get closer to our game of the year. I'm like, would it be shitty to like put this on my top 10?
I don't think it would. Nah.
Because it'll probably be pretty high up on my list, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be like shitty to put it on your top 10.
Because I'm just like, I did a full playthrough of it.
I'm gonna say something about you right now.
What?
You are a walking Nintendo like advertisement, a living, breathing advertisement.
If you had the platform, if there was like a new Dark Souls game to talk about every day, you'd be a Dark Souls platform as well.
You're right.
The fact of the matter is, I love Nintendo. I love my Switch. There was actually supposed to be a Nintendo Direct today. It got delayed.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, due to the massive earthquake in Hokkaido,
I think it's supposed
Japan.
to be, I think it was like the biggest in like ever type of shit.
Huge,
Yeah.
devastating, tragic earthquake. It is. So anyway, they delayed it, understandably so.
Could I say something? I saw something shitty about it.
Oh
Somebody's
God!
like, the fuck is this about? Like,
Somebody's like pissed off.
it's like did you read it? Like it legit says why.
Yeah, what the hell? Supposed to have a direct today. Ugh. Natural disaster or no? Why would that delay the direct?
Ridiculous.
Anyway, but you know, so my side dishes, now that Ōkami's kind of done, I've been kind of playing a little more Guacamelee 2, which I really wanted to give kind of its chance in the limelight on the show because I don't know how many more opportunities I'll have to talk about it. It's really, really good. I have not finished it yet. I was actually talking to you about it as I was playing it, where I was like, I don't really feel like this game's a Metroidvania, you know? Like everybody talks about the game, so oh, it's just another Metroidvania, and I'm like, I don't really think it is. Like, the first game was. The first game definitely was. This one doesn't really feel like it. This one feels like an open world platformer. Like an open world platformer / brawler with light Metroidvania mechanics. Like it feels like a very, very like Metroidvania is a very loose term if it applies to Guacamelee too.
Okay.
Because you're not really like going back and like there is a little bit of backtracking and stuff like that, but when I think of a Metroidvania, I'm thinking of like deep exploration based gameplay, and like Guacamelee would be served just as well if it were level based. Like it essentially is level based. What you know, I play when I'm thinking of Metroidvania, I'm thinking of games like Hollow Knight, you know, that are like these big like heavily exploration. You don't know where you're going and stuff like that. Guacamelee is very linear. And I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. I just think that the Metroidvania descriptor is inappropriate for Guacamelee 2. What is true is that it's a fantastic follow-up to the first game, which was already great. One thing that I really like about this game is you get pretty much all of your abilities from the first game you get within the first like hour of the second game.
Okay.
And I like that a lot. Like I like that if you're familiar with the first game, it does not take long for you to kind of put on that luchador mask and get right back into it. It has like a comfort food kind of feel to it, you know? Like I spent so much time with the first game that like it was like revisiting an old friend. Like
Okay.
playing Guacamelee 2, it just feels very comfortable, you know? One thing that I really respect about Guacamelee, and the thing that I think Guacamelee does better than any other Metroidvania I've ever played, or any other platformer or whatever I've ever played, any other game of its genre I've ever played, is that its combat is like deceptively deep, because really it's all tied to like just a couple of buttons and like different ways to approach scenarios. But it's actually, when you actually stop and think about it, you're doing like a lot of shit. Like, there are several different moves and several different tactics. There are several different enemies and ways to approach enemies, and certain enemies that can only be hit by certain types of attacks. And it all, the way that they like have everything simplified and flowed together feels so natural. And I have to imagine that was like very difficult to pull off design wise.
You have my interest with the combat. You know, I'm Todd, good combat Sturgill.
It has very good combat, and like it's very simplistic. Like, and that's something that I said about Hollow Knight, and I think that's still true. But Guacamelee really kicks it up a notch, where like, you know, you have just a very few sets of buttons. It's really a brawler at the end of the day. You're punching dudes. You know, it's not like you have weapons or anything. But with that skill set, like, you've got a million different variations and different ways to do it. And most importantly, it feels natural. I'm never having to stop and think about like, like I don't have to stop and be like, oh, what's this combo or whatever. Like, everything feels very well flowed together. It all feels like an extension of your thoughts,
You know,
which is the way to do it.
it's interesting. Is I'm gonna make a little segue because we're talking about good combat. Is I actually realized I actually been playing Bloodborne a little bit,
That's right.
and I actually got myself to an even level 300.
Nice round number.
Nice round number. That's actually how I feel about Bloodborne's combat. Like, because I've been playing Dark Souls 3 as well and Bloodborne.
Right.
Dark Souls 3's combat is nowhere near as fluid as Bloodborne's. Like, on a pure combat and just gameplay, Dark Souls 3 just falls behind in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad. Like, I actually, like, genuinely, like, I was playing 3 because I actually a mutual friend of ours is we're planning on starting up the ONS run again.
Right, right.
Which fuck knows when we're gonna do it, but that's in the works again. We're basically got that shit ready to go. But yeah, that's actually a really good point about the combat. Is like, I think a good combat does revolve around like it should flow so easily and like you don't even think about it.
Yeah, I think good combat design should be like I said, an extension of your thoughts. Like, you shouldn't have to sit there and think about, oh, I need to hit this button at this time or whatever.
Like I think Bloodborne does a good job of that. I think Bloodborne is without a doubt one of the best, some of the best combat in any game. For me
Yeah,
personally.
it should just feel very natural.
Yeah.
You know, and Guacamelee nails that for a 2D platformer. And yeah, I think the writing is really good. Like, just actually laugh out loud funny. There's actually like some just visual gags. Like, the game has no spoken audio at all. It's all just text based and visual gags. And
That's enough to make you
my
laugh
God.
out loud, though. That's impressive.
Yeah, within the first 10 minutes of Guacamelee, like the opening scenes of Guacamelee is some of the funniest shit I've seen all year. I was like dying, dude. I don't want to spoil it, but like the first couple of minutes, the opening sequence is so good.
I think were you talking to me when you were
Maybe.
playing? I feel like I remember you like laughing your ass off.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Like I was like, oh my God. And you know, it's still just like the first game, it's chock full of like references to other things. Like, there's like posters of like these luchador matches, and they'll be referencing Steven Universe and Black Panther and shit.
Oh, awesome.
There's references everywhere. So anyway, Guacamelee 2 is really, really good. The other game that I wanted to shout out, and this will be quick before we get into our Destiny talk, a little game, it's called Donut County. This is the one I was playing the other day with you, and you were like, why is this music relaxing as fuck?
Bro, that shit was making me... I was like almost like falling asleep to it, and I was just hearing it over your mic.
It's a very like simple game, and it's weird. As I'm playing it, I'm almost like, is this even really a game? Like, I hesitate to describe it as a game because like it's almost more like a toy. Like, I don't know, like, it's weird. the whole setup of it, and I've talked about the game before. It's almost like Katamari. Like you're just a hole, and you're just making things fall into the hole, and doing like different little puzzles with the hole, and that's really all it is. Um, it's fun, and it's very relaxing. The soundtrack's good, as you can attest to. Um, the writing, it's like pretty funny, and it's got a nice little cutesy graphical style and a nice color palette. But the whole time I'm playing it, I'm like, I don't really know what the engagement level is here. Like I'm not. It's not like I know a lot of people would hear that and be like, oh, so it's like those bullshit walking simulators. No, because at least walking simulators have like some sort of interaction and stuff. This is really just you can play the whole game really with like the X button and the joystick. you know.
I don't actually mind walking simulators.
Oh no, I look.
Like
I love.
I think a walking simulator was on your top 10 last year.
Oh yeah.
Was it what was it called?
You could be thinking of a few things. You could be thinking of Tacoma. You could be thinking of Edith Finch.
Edith Finch, that's the one.
Yeah, I really love certain. I mean, look, Gone Home, amazing game. Actually, just came out on Switch. Wink, wink.
God damn it.
But no, like
I actually didn't know that.
yeah, it just came out on Switch. I think today actually. But anyway, Donut County, it's cute. I like it. I think, but I just don't really know. Like, I don't really know what to make of it. Like as I'm playing, it's I don't know. Like it's just simple. Like I can't. It's harmless. You know what I mean? Like it's not hurting anybody.
How much did it cost you?
It's like $14.99.
Is it worth $14.99?
I guess. I mean, it's hard for me to answer those questions because I don't know what value means to anybody else. For me, like I'll buy almost anything as long as it's under $20.
That's kind of where I'm at, honestly.
That's my go-to barometer. If it's $20 or under, I'll pretty much try anything, unless it's just like unmitigated horseshit that I have like no interest in, like Metal Gear Survive or something like that.
That looks so bad.
Like if it's something like that where I'm just like, or like Styx, Master of Shadows or something.
All right. All right, buddy.
I gotta mention that at any chance I get.
I don't know if you've even mentioned this on the podcast yet. Have you?
Maybe not. I was on my Xbox One. I was on my Xbox One years ago, of all things. And like I was just chilling and I see like on my little news feed thing on Xbox One, I saw Todd sitting there playing this weird fucking I was like just scrolling through it and it said that you're playing like I just see the face of this like goblin like sneering at me. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And Todd's sitting there playing Styx Master of Shadows. And I asked you next time I saw it, I was like, what is this game? I don't know, I was bored.
I'm like, well, it's true. You got to remember that. I don't think I had my PS4 at the time.
Yeah, that was pre PS4.
So I had the Xbox, and the Xbox didn't have any games.
No.
They had sticks.
You're just like, I was bored. I decided to buy it. I think it was like you bought it like full price too.
I did.
Oh god. And the fucking they made a sequel.
I know.
So every time I see it now, you see it on sale for like, -$3 now.
Away.
And every time I see it, I have to like mention it to Todd. Maybe I'll get Styx Master of Shadows.
Piece of shit.
But anyway, unless it's like a game where I'm just like, I have literally no interest, $20 is usually like $15-$20 is usually my barometer of like, all right, you know what I mean? So for me, Donut County is worth it. I think it's a very simple and clean, just like, I think the game's like an hour long or something like that. It's an easy platinum from what I hear. You can platinum it in like 2 or 3 hours, But, I like it for what it is. Anyway, those are just 2 games I wanted to touch on. Let's get into Forsaken talk, Todd.
Let it begin.
So, I just want to get, like, I guess, generalized thoughts on the expansion. I don't really want to get, I think we have some deep discussion ahead of us.
Mhm.
On our kind of differing ideas and about the game and the state of Destiny now post Forsaken. But just generally speaking, like, how have you been finding this expansion? It should be noted, the expansion did just come out just a couple of days ago, so like we haven't put like a severe amount of time, but I feel like we've put enough time in to give at least initial impressions.
Well, I think getting to at least 500 light, we can talk about some shit. Like we
We're
cleared the
each,
first 100,
yeah,
basically.
we're each plus, 500 plus light level. We both, we've beaten the campaign. So I feel like we can give generalized impressions.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, overall, it's just looking at it from like looking at Warmind and Osiris. It's easily the best expansion.
Easily, yeah,
like,
easily.
Like no hesitation, hands down, best expansion. I mean, obviously they made a lot of changes with certain things. Some changes good for most people. Some people might not like it.
A little foreshadowing there.
Foreshadow. But overall, like, I've been personally enjoying it. I think it's a solid. Like, if I gave it a score out of 10, I'd give it a solid 7.5 right now.
It's a very interesting expansion, and I think that in many many ways it is exactly what the majority of Destiny fans want. So I have to give them credit for that. I thought the campaign was pretty meh, honestly.
I
Like, it was
actually
interesting,
agree with
but-
you on that. Honestly, the I mean, it was fine. They were given like this like little bit of like lore tidbits of like trying to figure out what's going on with like Uldren and whatnot. But other than that,
Yeah, I
like,
almost wonder if they need to bother continuing to do that. You know,
yeah,
which it sounds like they've kind of like wised up to that themselves, because I don't think any of the other expansions coming out are actually going to have story components.
really.
Yeah, as far as we can tell, they're not going to have any campaigns associated with them.
I mean, I'm kind of okay with that, honestly. Like, because like, just let me be in the world, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's more so about like the new patrol zones and the major changes. to the
Exactly.
mechanics.
I will talk about this. Like, it did get annoying. I called it out. You called it out after me. Is just, holy shit. Every single Baron we went after, we killed Cade. We fucking shoved our dicks into Cade's mouth. Like, it's like, fuck.
Yeah, they really like drove that home, and it bums me out because, like, I don't know, I felt like I don't mind that they killed Cade. I think maybe, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast or not, but I've gone on record as saying, like, I thought it would have been cool if they killed him off in the main campaign.
Yeah. It would have been either way. It would have been fine.
I thought for sure they were setting it up to kill him off and make Hawthorne the new Hunter Vanguard. But oh well.
I am wondering who's going to end up being the new Hunter Vanguard.
Who knows? I mean, at this point, but it is, I'll give credit where credit's due. Like, I appreciate that they did that. I also feel like I also feel like it's a little bit of a cheap trick, because like Cade's the only character we care about.
Because he's the only character.
They couldn't have done that to Ikora or Zavala.
I wouldn't have given a shit if it happened to Zavala or Ikora.
And then, like, I think Uldren's actually an interesting character, but like it's a little bit weird, and I actually think his motivations are somewhat interesting once they sort of reveal themselves, once you kind of realize what the deal is with Uldren.
It's technically what's funny is I don't even know if we really got the deal until we played earlier today and got to the Dreaming City.
Well, you get more context.
Yeah, you get a little more
point,
context
right?
what was going on with him.
But the base premise, like, you get the general idea of what's going on with him, and you see like what ends up happening with him. He's actually kind of a sad character, and I think he's an interesting character, an interesting villain. But I also feel like they just kind of pulled him out of left field. They just kind of pulled him out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And like, when you think back, I think back to Taken King, which is the kind of Destiny 1 corollary to this.
Yeah.
And like, it felt like Taken King felt big. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like a big epic. Like, this is fucking Oryx.
I don't really get that feeling for this one.
I don't, but it still carries like it's got two huge, probably the best patrol zones that the series has ever seen.
Yeah.
Both of them, and like all of these new, I mean, the game has changed dramatically with some of the changes they've made in Forsaken, and
For
like
either better or worse.
yeah, and we're definitely gonna get into that, but like I just it's almost like it's dropping like this huge feast on the table just out of nowhere. I don't feel the weight behind it, I guess. Just from a narrative perspective. I didn't really feel anything like that until today, really, when we started digging into the Dreaming City stuff. Like that stuff seems epic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that.
But that just seems to tie into the raid, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Oh, that's exactly what it ties into. Just like you finish the first the little mission in there. It's like, open the gates, let the guardians in.
And it actually makes me appreciate the way they handled Taken King a little bit more now because at least you get that kind of like a mini fight against Oryx at the
Yeah.
end. With
Because
this, it almost seems like
you technically kill him in a way, and he just goes to
yeah.
his ascendant plane. You know.
So, but this almost feels like when you do the final fight of this, or as we'll talk about, when you get carried through the final fight in this, um, you you don't really you feel like you're just like an appetizer, like not even an appetizer really. Like it's just like a little snack before dinner or something. Like
Yeah.
it just ended with a thud. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's neither here nor there. I do want to talk about our experience playing through the campaign a little bit because like you just had a way better time than I did
All
with the
right.
drop.
Well, I want to talk about why I had a better experience. So I've said it before. I'm unemployed right now, so I got a little more, obviously a little more free time. So basically, on the day of the Forsaken came out, Seth was busy, so we weren't going to be able to play it until Tuesday night, like going into like Wednesday morning type of shit. So what ended up happening is in that free time during the day, I did the weeklies. I did the weekly shit, and because of that, I got two powerful engrams that gave me two things that were 500 light.
Right.
I had the ACDC feedback fence, whatever the hell, and a helmet. So the moment I hit level 43, I instantly bumped up like a motherfucker, and I was getting like way more my light level was like I hit like 500 like nothing. That is basically what ended up like that's what kind of ruined your experience. I'm gonna talk about like the fact that like did they expect people to sit there and do the weeklies before they started Forsaken? That's a joke.
Yeah, and yeah, I've seen a lot of people on the subreddit even being like suggesting people like not even bother touching the campaign until they hit 50. Like
That's actually I agree with that. Like honestly, because it's like at least when you hit level 50, a lot more shit's open up to you. You can do Gambit, you can do everything that is available at level 50.
that's just such a bad structure
Oh,
though.
it is.
Like
It's without a doubt a bad structure, and it fucked you because it's like, what we're doing the Barons, like the last half of the DLC, and you're sitting there at like 4 fucking 15 or some shit.
yeah, I think I was like 419 when we did the last
Yeah,
mission.
so 419, my ass is like probably like 490, 480 at the time, and all these missions are like, there's like one at one point you were basically like 40 levels, 40 like light
Yeah.
levels under, and you legitimately
Yeah,
couldn't even damage.
for the last mission, I literally it went from me being I was like, okay, well I'm kind of useful. At least I can revive Todd if he goes down. I can do a little bit of damage from afar. I just got to be safe because I'll get killed really easily. But like the last mission, I was so under leveled.
Yeah, it was just
I
straight
was
immune.
completely
Everything was just
unable.
straight immune. It was,
Yeah,
and I mean, I didn't like feel like I felt bad for you because I was like, this is kind of shit. This is a very shit way to experience this game right
it
now.
just sucks because like you're sitting there, you're trying to enjoy the campaign. There's a lot of hype leading into this expansion, and I'm ready to love it. You know what I mean? And like the way they structured it, just totally kill. I mean, that's the campaign is supposed to get you revved up and ready for
No,
the
well,
rest
this
of
is
the
the problem. The
story.
campaign should have leveled you up to the point where you could at least not be fucking fighting shit that you can't even damage. What? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, like I thought that I would at least you should at least be able to turn on that story, like turn on the game, start playing the story, and you should be at least be able to play it from start to finish.
Yeah, I don't think I should have been able to get like shot along because I did the because I had the time to do the weeklies before the Forsaken. That's ridiculous to me.
It's just like that drove me crazy. That was just a bad first experience, but and like and I guess to get into the meat of the discussion here, the thing that we both have been talking about as we've been playing it together is like the game has really taken um the big argument for Destiny 2 when it first came out is that it was catering to the casual a little too much,
Well,
which is
now,
fine.
well, I'll just say the observation that I made like yesterday is it's going the way of like Monster Hunter World, where it requires much more of a commitment.
Well, it is now the super committed game that never ends. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That is now what it is. And that's what a lot of people wanted. Like for a lot of people, Destiny is the only game they play
Hmm.
and like is all they want to do and they just want things to do in it all day all long. You know what I mean?
So I think going into this like discussion is gonna be a little interesting because like I'm on the middle ground of this. Like I would have had no problem if it stayed like that once a week thing, and I have no issue playing it a little more because unlike Seth, I don't play like all the indies and whatnot. Like my video game wish list is not that long.
Right. Well, like I play a lot of games. I like a lot of stuff, and I
Yeah.
have a lot of interests. I love a lot of video games. Play a lot of indies. Play a lot of triple A's. Like I said, I cast a wide net, as I said, I think last week.
Yeah, I think you did actually. Yeah.
And so like a game like Destiny was nice because it was just like, oh, okay, on Tuesday I can just hop on with Todd. We can do weeklies. I can feel accomplished, and then I can put it back on the shelf and play these other games. Well, that's not really going to be
No,
possible anymore.
it's not really a thing anymore. Like it's just like there is something to do on that game every single day. Like it is no, it's like a never ending thing.
My inventory right now is like stacked filled with bounties,
Yep.
and like
And
you're
you get
never not
fucking
gonna have
bounties for scrapping shit now.
right.
Oh, like, ugh.
And like challenges associated with them, and like every time you turn that game on, you're gonna have something to do.
Yep.
And look, that's great. That's exactly what people want. But like, it does not, Destiny does not, just like Monster Hunter World, I put like 70, 80 hours into that game. But I've reached a certain point where I was like, this game does not fit in with my lifestyle
Yeah.
anymore. I have to
No,
put it
because
down.
Monster Hunter World is another way of looking. It's a never ending game. I'm like 500 hours in, still playing it.
Yeah. And I just, and that's great for, for gamers that are very much like, like you and like others where I think that's great for players like you guys that have the time and interest to devote that much time to one game, but I just don't. It just doesn't fit with my lifestyle. I got to
Yeah.
move on, you know? And like the difference between Monster Hunter and Destiny used to be that Destiny only demanded like I could reach the ceiling of what I wanted to do in Destiny inside of a day.
Yeah, and now you really like now you can't at all. Like
And now there is no ceiling.
we were talking about this. We were talking about this earlier. Is like the clan bounty shit, like the clan XP weekly. Fuck that. Like you
You
gotta
can't even
do.
do that in one day anymore.
No, you like legit. You have to do it. I'm still not done with it. Like it's because like I legit
Yeah.
have like 90%. Like probably after we're done recording this, I'm probably gonna jump on and do my like last bounty because I'm like at 90%. I'm like might as well finish it. But it took basically what like 3 days of me jumping on and doing you know shit. It's gonna be basically 7 or 8 bounties.
Right. And I just, and as I'm playing it now, I just feel and look, don't get me wrong, I sound really negative on it. I'm not. I think it's a good expansion overall. We'll get into some more of these mechanical changes and stuff in a minute, but I feel like just the structure that they've turned Destiny into now is very anti me.
Hmm.
Like
It's funny is like as I was playing, I was like thinking to myself like, oh, this is gonna put Seth off.
it definitely has. Like I respect Bungie's like I guess evolution to sort of give the hardcore players that they want. But it really is at the behest of the casual players.
Yeah.
The casual players just can't hang anymore. You know what I mean? And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I know people are thinking it's like, oh, well, why don't you jump on, do what you want to do? It's like, well, I just don't have time.
I mean, it's the thing. You could still technically jump on and do like what? Oh, do like a nightfall, do like some strikes or crucible shit like once a week. You could do that,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
could
like
still carve out I could carve out a
you're
day.
barely gonna move up in light at that point.
Yeah, because the burn is slow.
Oh,
And
really?
it just
When you hit 500, it's slow. It's a slow burn.
yeah, and like I like I guess I wish that they had kept the milestone system. Maybe added in a little bit of these challenges, but kept the milestones that were already in place. Um, Basically, I really liked, in other words, I really liked the way the game was post patch, but right before Forsaken came out. Where it was like we still had milestones in place. We also had the challenges like how Call to Arms was made like a three
Yeah.
match thing. Like we had stuff like that in place, but it was still very much in the structure of pre-Forsaken Destiny 2. And like I was enjoying that. And another major issue I have with Forsaken is the infusion system
I
now.
was hoping you'd go to that next.
The fact that it requires masterwork cores, I think, is
That is
ridiculous.
the biggest. That is actually one of my biggest complaints. I was laughing my ass off. I'm gonna shout out this this fucking like Thanos meme I saw. It was great. It's like you infuse something. What did it cost? Everything.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Like
It's
I
it's
understand planetary materials because that's the new like tokens. They phased out the tokens. It's now the planetary materials. That's fine, but holy shit! Like, and it really sucks if you get something that is actually like a tier 3 or tier 4 or 5 armor because I don't know if you realize that also depends on what that shit's gonna cost.
right.
Because I think I had like something that was not that was untouched didn't cost me a masterwork to infuse. It's just it all
Yeah.
involves around like, oh, what, the RNG of me getting like a tier 5? Fuck you. Now I got to sit there and use masterwork cores.
It's a little annoying.
No,
And
that's my biggest complaint, honestly.
it's a big deal, and I think that's gonna be the first thing that gets rolled back. I really do. I think it's gonna be the first thing that Bungie's gonna, kind of back down on is the masterwork cores.
Well,
Because here's my thing. I felt like planetary materials, that's expensive enough.
it's some real shit.
You know what I mean?
Like, dude,
Like,
here, you know what? I'd say this. Give me like make it cost more glimmer and more legendary shards or some shit. No. Fuck that. I don't want to use legendary shards. That not that much of them. But
well, again, I think that just making it so that I have to go to a planet and like farm materials, that's enough of a pain in the ass.
because
It's not that's not really that big of a pain in the ass, but that's enough of one to where it's like, okay, you have to think about it a little bit.
I mean, I understand that they made masterwork cores drop from like when you dismantle like you can get them from dismantling random legendaries now. That's fine,
Right.
but it's like
It's
shit
still there's
to
still
like
no great way to get
to fully upgrade and to fully infuse shit. It's like, bro, you need like 20 plus masterwork cores.
Yeah, it's stupid. And it's not like masterwork cores are just raining from the sky. Like it's not like that at all.
Not at all.
So that's a big bummer. I also, and I was telling you this, like I wish that there was just some more acknowledgement of like the work that I put in to get some of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
I almost wish that exotics did not have the random rolls.
No, they
Um,
definitely do, and that's something. That is something that actually hurt. I think hurt me as well. It just like it hurt you a little more, and it took you a little bit to get more into it, like I did, because I was just like, all right, well, I'm just dismantling everything. It's like not
yeah,
even worth
well,
having.
eventually I did the same because I was just like, well, fuck, like I'm not like my Crimson, which I've had for forever, and I am attached to that gun, and it's my like one of my favorite guns in the game. It's just all right, bye bye.
Yeah.
Because
So this is I'm gonna. I was talking about this. Is I want to. So they were gonna say they said shit like, oh, we're not leaving year one weapons behind. You kind of did.
you kind of did because they're not even. It's not even that they're technically obsolete. They're literally
They're
obsolete.
obsolete. They're just like why would you want to use them when you can have the random roll shit? You get the god roll. Like, was it my go-to weapon right now is the Misfit and has like Rampage on it, and you got it's like Why would I use a weapon that has like nothing like that? It's just shit rolls.
Right. Why would I have like why would I use Crimson or something when it doesn't have any of that extra stuff? So I almost wish that the exotics had stayed static, where like
Yeah.
every version of Crimson is the same.
And that's the thing. You could pull them out of your collections, but it's like not even worth it that because they're just shit. They're just shittier now. Because like a lot of the exotic arms that I used to use, like from my Titan, it's just like fastball, and like I don't want that shit.
It's a bummer. It really is. Like and like yeah, I had to, I have to completely rethink the way, got to rethink all my armor, you know, all the weapons that I was used to. I'm not using them anymore,
Yeah, now you're like
you know.
getting the feel for like all the new stuff and all that, which is fine. Like I think that's like I have no problem with like learning like figuring out like a new weapon, like weapon types and whatnot.
No, don't get me wrong. Like I have weapons now that I really enjoy, and those are the ones I'm going to start working towards, and got the good rolls on them and stuff like that, and that's all great. Like that very much harkens back to Destiny 1, and I like that a lot. But again, to literally turn on the game after Forsaken and now all of my shit's bullshit, like that sucks.
I legit told you like I told you like as we jumped on to play, I'm like you're just gonna dismantle everything.
And it's not uncommon like to play like WoW or something like that, and you turn on new expansion and you're replacing all of your legendaries with greens or whatever. Like that's not uncommon, but it isn't incumbent on the entire mechanical structure of the game changing.
Yeah, it's just your shit's just it's just the expansion's different. You're just like getting better shit.
Yeah. So like you're getting better items that are within the same structure.
Yeah.
Here, it's not even the same. It's literally like, all right, you're over there playing like T-ball, but we're over here, we're playing baseball here. You know what I mean?
That's a good way of looking at it.
It just I don't know. It's a bummer, and I again I respect what they've done for the hardcore Destiny audience.
Even this, like, they even made like getting the new supers like kind of hard.
Even that's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
That's a major selling point of the
and
expansion.
some real shit. Can I say this? I'm so happy I made the right decision.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so I think I talked about this. I was like, oh, I'm gonna totally go the Devastator, the fucking new solar one. Code of Commanders the way I went. And
I'm pretty happy that I went my way at first too.
yeah, Code of Commanders the way I went. That is the new Sentinel tree, and that shit is fantastic. That is in a way that a like your hunter like gets hard over like groups. I get hard over groups now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because one punch can kill an entire group. It's so good.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to playing more. But look, don't get me wrong. I know it sounds like I've been pretty negative on the whole thing. I just don't think that I like what I'm playing, and I'm gonna continue to play it. But I just know that I'm gonna reach that point eventually where it's like I gotta put it down. You know what I mean?
This might be something we like talk about like more like in the next like couple episodes maybe. Just like
Well, it's like I told you. Eventually, I'm just gonna reach a point where I'm playing this and I'm enjoying it, and I'm just like, but why though?
I mean you've already asked yourself that like you asked yourself that like recently. It's
Yeah,
just like,
I was literally just sitting there playing it this morning by myself, and I'm like, well, to what end am I doing this? Because I'm gonna reach the point where like I'm not gonna get to like max light level. I'm not gonna become some guy who plays this game
yeah,
all day every
it's
day.
basically going to be how Destiny 1 I said this to you actually before we start recording is it's going to be like Destiny 1 to me. I never reached max light level in Destiny 1. I always like was like a little under. Like I was like I reached the point that you could reach without doing like the raid basically.
Yeah, I feel like I know that like Spider-Man, tomorrow when I get home from
Oh
work,
yeah, I don't even
I'm
give a
not
shit
turning
about.
on
I don't give a
Destiny.
single shit. Like the moment midnight comes, I don't give a shit about Destiny. That's done. Done.
Yeah, I'm not turning on Destiny when I've got Spider-Man. And then like, I've got after that, like my overall point, am I really gonna be playing Destiny when I've got, Fallout 76, Battlefield, fucking Red Dead and, Darksiders and Smash.
Ooh, I always forget about Darksiders.
Like, am I really gonna be playing that game? Like, am I really gonna be playing Destiny as well as all of those things when it is now a much larger time commitment. Like, I'm not.
The answer to that is probably not.
So it's just gonna reach that point, and I know it's gonna reach that point. For now, I'm having a good time with it, but like I can see the end. Like I'm looking at it, I'm just like, well, this is probably my last stop on the Destiny train, isn't it?
I said this like we were talking about this. I think it was like I was doing the some wanted bounties. We were talking about it, and it's just like it's not even you like thinking the game shit. It's just you looking at the bigger picture.
No, yeah, like I enjoy it, but I have to look at it for what it is. And like it's a game that isn't for me anymore. You know, the game has changed to be a game that just does not fit my lifestyle anymore.
Because like back when Destiny 1, that level of shit was fine with you because I don't think you played as much games when Destiny 1 was out.
No.
But yeah, nowadays that shit just does not fit.
I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm super negative on the expansion.
It's not even you being negative on it because like you're looking at it and you see why it's like a good thing for like the whole of the community for the game.
Yeah.
It's just not for you. It's not even being negative.
I just feel bad because like if Destiny was the only game I was playing, I'd be a happy fucking camper.
Oh yeah,
right
now. For me, I'm in that middle ground of where I'm like, it's cool, I can play this game more, but the other part of me is like, I would have had no problem if it stayed with like the weekly chores. You know what I mean? Like
and it's shit. And like I love like we unlocked the Dreaming City today, and my God, what a cool zone that is.
That place is gorgeous. Easily out of Destiny 2 and Destiny 1, best looking like environment in the game.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. I was like, dude, the second I see that there's like a Forsaken art book on sale,
some real shit.
I'm buying the shit out of that. I just would love to see the concept art for the Dreaming City. And like some of the ideas are so cool and so forward thinking, and I don't know, like I'm of two minds with this game, and it just bums me out that like I feel like it's not really for me anymore.
Yeah, it's funny. It kind of like you kind of feel like you're getting like forced out a little bit of a game you enjoy.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like you're going to like a party and like all of your friends know you don't do drugs, but then like one of their cool friends came in and had like a bar of acid. I'm just like, oh well, all right, I guess I'll leave now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what it feels like. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to sound too negative. I know that this is the best thing for the community. I think overall it is a good expansion, a cool one that I'm having fun with, and that I'm going to continue to have fun with until I can't, you know. So I don't know. That's my generalized thoughts and impressions so far on Forsaken. And we'll, if we have anything else interesting to say about it later on, we definitely will touch back on the podcast. But before we wrap it up, was there anything else you wanted to add to that?
My Dark Souls 1 Remastered playthrough on YouTube is done. Check it out.
Oh, that's a good shout out. Yeah. Pop in there and check that out.
Yeah.
That's all wrapped up now.
Yep.
So, coming up next is your apology video for Seath.
Oh.
Sorry, not Seath.
I know what you meant, Sif.
Yeah, Sif. Yeah. So, that's be on the lookout for that. But cool. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us this week, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.